Hi there, it's Sam from poodles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is this one. It's a little treat. It could be for a guy. I kind of made it with my children and my husband in mind. I have 4 boys. If you've not come across me before, I've got 4 sons. But yeah, I thought I would make this with men in mind. And so it's a little 2-inch cube box, milk carton, opens like that and straight in. And I kind of designed it to close, well, I closed it in this fashion because my children do appreciate a nicely presented project given to them, but then they'll just go and rip it open, and I didn't want them to do that. So I'm making this, and you can make 2 from a single sheet of cardstock. Doesn't matter if you're in America using 8.5 by 11 or anywhere else in the world using international A4, you can get 2 from a sheet of cardstock because it's 8.25 inches wide, 5.5 deep, which in metric is 21 by 14, so you can get 2 from a sheet of cardstock. I've gone for Merry Merlot this time. I haven't used this colour in such a long time. Okay, so on the long side, score it at 2, 4, 6 and 8 inches, which in metric is 5, 10, 15 and 20 centimetres. And then turn it to the right and score it at 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches, which in metric is 4 and 9 centimetres, and then turn it over, not round, turn it over and score it at 5 inches, 13 centimetres. Okay, and then come back to your first side and mark it down to the first score line at 1 inch and 5 inches, which is 2.5 and 12.5. And I forgot to write that on my notes. So I'm going to do that now. Mark 1, 5, and mark 2.5, 12.5. So that when I write up the notes for the blog post, I get them right. Okay. You're all laughing at me now, aren't you? Okay, so what I'm going to do now with those lines that I've just marked, I'm going to do a diagonal line from there to there and there to there on both of them, and that's how you get the lovely close with the sides of the milk carton. Right, so now what I want to do, and kind of before I start burnishing, is put my panels of DSP on. Now these measure, I've got 4 squares across the middle, which are 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. That's 4.5 by 4.5 centimetres. And then I've got 2 for the top that are 1 3/4 by 1 1/4. And with this pattern of paper, I cut it in such a way, so I cut it up. I cut vertically, I cut the width first, so 1 3/4 wide, and then I cut my panels, which meant that when you piece it together, that skinny bit will naturally go above there, and then this one, actually it's got the tiniest little bit come off, but that will go on there and there. I'm not so worried about what does or doesn't match there, but that's okay, that's going to be fine. No, it's not going to match quite so well, but it's okay. It was the flow up that I wanted, and you can see it most of all on this yellow parcel. So I'm going to snail all of those down. This is the night before paper, which really has captured my heart this season. It's a nostalgic without being twee. If you're familiar with the term twee. If you're not, it's nostalgic without being a massive stereotype. It's just lovely. And my first one with the lovely hot chocolate and the biscuits. Love those. You know, those lovely winter evenings, for those of us who have winter in winter, or this time of year I should say, South Pacific friends, perhaps not so much, but when you're drinking hot chocolate you like a nice chocolate chip cookie or chocolate chip biscuit. And so that was it kind of took me back. I kind of really only remember having hot chocolate as a child at Christmas time. So I thought that was lovely. Okay, right, so those are on and I'm happy with those. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to burnish my score line. So I'm going to burnish this one, which went in the opposite direction. And then do the rest as normal. Oops. And this one as well. Go gently over the paper. Right, so that's all done. So what I want to do now is I'm going to nick off a little diddy bit at the top. And then cut all of these. And I'm going to put some tear and tape down here. Now, if you do happen to work with 8.5 by 11 cardstock, leave yours at 8.5 by 5.5. We folk who work in international A4, ours is unfortunately 8.25 centimetres wide. Inches, 8.25 inches wide. But it's a lot longer, it's 11.75. So it's longer but narrower, our standard cardstock. Okay, so this is the back. If it's got a panel, it's the back or the front. It's the back because it's next to the seam. So I'm going to fold in the back, 2 sides, and I'm going to put some more tear and tape on here. Actually, you know what? I need to get the sides in first, then the back, then this one, because there is an overlap, but that's okay. We don't mind. Push in the 2 sides, and those scored lines that you put in are doing all of the work for you, so you don't have to push with your fingers or anything like that. And then I've got some of my little library clips, and I'm going to take a silver one because it's actually very vanilla in there, not white. And clip it on the top. In the middle, and then from the same suite we have a stamp set and die, and I just want the dies. You can stamp out the Father Christmas and then die cut him, or there's the silhouette of Father Christmas in his sleigh and 3 reindeer. I've used them all before. There's the stockings, parcels. I want I don't think that just says jolly, it says something jolly. I'll have to see when I cut it. I can't remember because I need to cut a bit out. Oh, to be, that's what it is. That's what it says, because it says 'tis the season to be jolly, but I'm going to cut off the to be bit. And move those over there. Grab this and my big shot. So pop it on there. And then I'm going to create a shim. I'm hoping that's cut out first go. Yes, brilliant. Okay, so that's first go, that's popped out. Whoopsie. Come out. I've just snagged it. Okay, so I don't need the to be bit, I just want jolly, so I'm just using my snips. Just cut that bit away, and then the bits in the O and the L. And because there are some reasonably wide patches to it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use mini glue dots rather than fine tip glue, which is not my friend. And what I do is I take the end of my paper piercer and I fold my glue dot up until it creates like a little ball. Actually, I'll have to do this on the table and then bring it back up to you. And that hides in there, and you can't see it from the other side, And I will do the same over here as well. So I'm going to create another sort of like ball of glue. And I like glue dots for that. And you can fold them in half, you can make them longer, thinner. So a little tiny bit on the end of the J. And that can go on the front of my box. It says Jolly. And that's a great guy gift. At least I think so. What do you think? Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you very soon. Bye.